this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I'm only going to be using early espresso ink, and I have Cajun Craze blends. I'm going to be using Wildlife Wonder, this owl here. I'm not putting any sentiments on this card. You could add a sentiment on the inside, but I haven't put any on it. I'm going to be using birch. I'm going to be using the Timber 3D embossing folder. The iconic dies. This one here I've cut out of, I think this is the new color, Evening Evergreen, or is it Garden Green? I don't remember. No, that's the Evening Evergreen. It was a scrap. I've got this one here. I've cut two of them out of black. This one here I will cut out of white, and then we will color with the blends. I have a 2-inch square of vanilla, a 2 1/4 inch square of Cajun Craze. This is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 of white. And this is, I forgot the stitched rectangles dies. I don't remember which one it is. It was a scrap, so I forgot. Oh, it's the largest. Come on, cooperate. People are watching. It's the largest of the stitched rectangle dies. And then a vanilla card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay, let's put that aside. Let's move this aside for a minute. Bring in the vanilla piece and the owl, early espresso. And actually on this one, this was a scrap I had. It doesn't match the vanilla, so I have another piece of that in case I prefer that. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp both of these. I only have the 2 pieces of that color, so I couldn't even, I don't even know what cardstock it is. It's not Stampin' Up. It was in my white scrap drawer. Okay, so there's that. Put those aside. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the birch embossing folder, or birch stamp. I'm going to leave it right in the case, and I'm going to just ink up a good portion of it. And again, I'm using the early espresso ink, and I need a piece of scratch paper. I'm going to bring this piece in, and I want to incorporate this big section here. I really kind of like that, so set it down without moving it. Put my scratch paper on top. Give it a good rub. I'll go ahead and pick it up. There we go, there's that piece. I'm going to bring in my chamois to clean it off. That's why I love these, because this one I cut in half, so I have a smaller piece just for this purpose, or for when I'm using my Stamparatus. Stay down, buddy. Go ahead and wash this while I'm at it. Sorry about that. Alright. Now, I'm going to bring this embossing folder And I'm going to take this piece that I cut out and I'm going to try and line up this with one of the larger sections on the machine. I mean on the embossing folder. And I'm going to go run that through my machine and I will be right back. Okay, got that. I don't know if you can see the texture on there. You can see it on the back anyway, but just adds a little bit something extra. Okay, now we can put this card together. It's really not a difficult card. Oh, I've got one other thing to do. I forgot to cut out this, so let me do that. Okay, I got that cut out. Now these little dots fall out of it, and I really don't want them all to come out. So I'm going to flip it over. I'll try and get this one back in there, but I'll have to do that afterwards. I'm going to bring in some dimensionals. And I'm going to put dimensionals on the back to hold those little pieces in. Because I want the dots to be on it, but I don't want them to pop out. Okay, then I'll piece this one back in there. Use this. See if I can get it in a little farther. There we go. Okay, so then those pieces are in there. And I'm going to take my blends. I've got the dark Cajun Craze. I'm going to go, oops, I went the other side. Around the top. And one side, doesn't really matter which side. And then this underneath part here. And then I'm going to come in with the light one. I'm going to blend that out, color that all in. I'm going to do the stem part. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to go around the edges like this, so none of that white shows. Now I probably could have just cut it out of Cajun Craze cardstock and then just added some highlights. That probably would have been easier, but I'm just showing you what I did. Okay, now we can glue our pieces together. Let's see if we're going to like the contrast of this. I think it'll work. We'll go ahead and try it. I'll glue this piece onto the Cajun Craze, and again this is 2-inch square. The Cajun Craze is 2 1/4. There's fuzzies there. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. Okay, I'm going to bring in this brown piece, which was cut from the largest of the stitch rectangle dies. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to it. And like that. It's about almost 1/4 of an inch around the edge. This is going to get mounted to the front of my card. Again, there's going to be about 1/4 of an inch space. Okay, then I'm going to take the backs off of this, dimensionals. It's going to go down here at this bottom, closer to this right side, or left side, excuse me. I'm going to bring in the 2 pieces of tree. For this, I'm going to turn them over like that. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on the back. Not a lot, just down here at the bottom. I might put a little more because I don't really love them sticking up quite as far as they are. But that's going to go here. Let's turn it a little bit more this way, like that. Okay, then I've got my fern. And I forgot to put my ribbon on. So I was thinking backwards. Did this last time too, didn't I? Oh well. So we'll see if we can tuck it underneath there. This time I'm just going to tie it in a knot. Okay. Ideally, I would have liked that a little bit lower, but that's alright, it'll work here. I don't know where my Stampin'Up scissors went, but they've got to be here somewheres. Snip these pieces off. Okay, and we're going to put this piece on here, and I'm going to use glue dots because it's going over the ribbon, and put one on each one of these big leaves at the bottom. Just be careful not to tear that little stem when you're picking them off because it's very fragile. Okay, and then I'll use the wet glue on the other little leaves. Okay, it's going to go across here like that. Okay, then we're going to take the backs off of our mushroom. I actually need a piece for this bottom here. Bring in a small dimensional, mini one. That's going to get tucked in right here. There you go, there's the card. Here's the one I did previously. This one's a little more yellow, but this one matches the card base better. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.